Are you a business owner stuck in fear, doubt, and worry about what the marketplace will look like in the future? Then this show is for you. Strap on your seatbelt and get ready to disrupt and innovate. Here's your host, Lisa Levy.
Welcome to another episode of Disrupt and Innovate. Today, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to Shaz Khan, the co-founder and CEO of Ruzi. It's a trailblazing in the digital procure-to-pay solution for today's workforce. The product focuses on adoption, collaboration, and automation, and Shaz drives corporate strategy with product innovation and global growth through this platform. Shaz is known for leading transformative projects in the Fortune 1000 in companies like Time Warner and Dow Chemical. He's a noted author and speaker on digital business transformation and fintech platforms. He's based in LA, and he balances his professional life with his passion for music, rocking out on guitar licks to Iron Maiden and Metallica. Join us for our conversation today as we explore the pioneering work that he's doing to transform the future of procurement and the supply chain processes. Shaz, all of that is so easy for me to read while I stumble through it, but so much more meaningful if you actually tell us a little bit about your journey and why what you're doing right now is so important.
Thank you, Lisa, and it's really a pleasure to be on your podcast today. So just in terms of the derivation, I grew up in Los Angeles and was surrounded by an entrepreneurial spirit with my parents who immigrated from Pakistan in the late 60s and early 70s, respectively. My father was in the computer peripherals business, making floppy disk drives, sound cards for the PC revolution. And my mother was a dietitian that worked at a hospital and parlayed that into a large event coordinating company for large-scale weddings throughout the world. And so it was a trial by osmosis, but my passion for building businesses and managing people and understanding how operations work to generate income and do it on your own to start and then build a team around you. That kind of foundation was laid by my parents. So I always say that my MBA was really from my parents first. And one of the interesting kind of moments in my life was I saw this convergence in the early 80s when you had companies like Apple and Microsoft just starting with music. Which led me into this passion for music. And there was a little festival that happened called the US Festival in San Bernardino County in the early 80s, which actually brought technology and merged that with music, with acts such as Genesis, The Who, Rolling Stones, Scorpions. And so that's where I just became kind of a kid in the candy store. I would see technology, and I would see the usage of that technology on stage with these incredible acts. So that kind of laid the foundation for my journey. I studied computer science at UC Berkeley during kind of what we call the days of the massive search engines like Google, Lycos, Ask Jeeves. And I also then studied economics. And I parlayed that when I graduated into a career in management consulting, where I was introduced to a number of incredible C-suite individuals running incredible companies, from chemicals to financial services to media. And I think at that moment, it became very, very real that there was a lot of processes that were being run in those companies that were not optimal. So I set aside to build a business on that and a series of businesses that would solve on process optimization for companies. And the vertical that I selected was procurement. All of us as consumers are absolutely focused on purchasing, getting the right deal with the right supplier. We might not think we're negotiators, but we negotiate every day. Right? And What I saw in the business world were two things. Number one is lack of data. There was a lack of information and data for employees to make the right decisions in terms of where they would buy their products and services from. The second element that I saw is the systems were so clunky for people to execute a transaction. So much so that it was easier for an employee to go down the street with their personal credit card, purchase something that they needed for their operations, and then get reimbursed 30 days later.
And that was the easy path.
That was the easy path, right? And fast forward to now today, we are in kind of what I call the golden age of software as a service, where you have a plethora of choices of how you can optimize different business processes and tie them together to bring a really incredible consumer-like experience into the business-to-business world. And so what I mean by that is, I always joke because I say it's Christmas every day at our house because we have Amazon boxes at our doorstep because of the accessibility, because of the distribution arms that they've set, because of the ease of use of finding products that are very commoditized or extremely rare. You can find both.
And the simplicity of one-click purchase.
That's right. That's right. And I think you've really synthesized what Bruzy is all about. Bruzy is about providing the most optimal way for employees to purchase goods and services with as few clicks as possible and in a mobile interface. So as we look at devices in terms of the PC computing revolution with desktops, moving to laptops, moving to tablets, moving to smartphones, all of those business activities and transactions should be able to be executed on those devices.
In my consulting practice, I do a lot of process work, and I am known for saying we can solve any process and represent it in 3 boxes. 3 steps, we can do anything. And my example is always procurement. That step 1, I need something. Step 2, I find it. Step 3, I pay for it. And I watch procurement professionals' heads explode. I said, I know that it's more than that, but at its simplest definition, it's a 3-step process. Everything else about it is complexity that we have in some way, shape, or form added. So I love where you're headed.
Thank you, Lisa. And I would also add that sometimes ego might get in the way of optimization for process. And so what I mean by that is that if you're ordering a $50 office supply, you have to ask yourself as a company, does that require a governance control of 5 approvers to approve that type of purchase? And we've seen that activity countless times in small corporations and big corporations. When you digitize business processes, you also should be looking at refactoring the existing processes that got you there in the first place in terms of looking to simplify and streamline. And those go hand in hand.
They absolutely do, because the reality is, right, everything we do in the back office is a cost to the business in some way, shape, or form. And what we're really there to do is sell a product or a service and serve our customers and our clients. And when we forget to think about that and the time and energy that we invest in multiple layers of approval and all of those things that make it look like it's very mature and it's very robust and it's all of these things, it's big and it's clunky and it's slow. And all of those steps add no value to the end customer or client that we're serving. So with something like Bruzy that you're developing, I'm assuming that the whole point of it is to make it simple and streamlined and make the process of purchasing as easy as it should be.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the core tenets of our company is agility. In fact, the name Bruzy is derived from the word vroom. And for us, we were very focused on speed, acceleration, nimble, because that didn't exist in the 2000s and even up to this day. You still have to hire expensive consultants to put bulky software in. And what you're left with is a system that nobody uses. And when you want to talk about ROI and payback, I think one of the key elements for ROI and payback is end user adoption, and do your employees love the solution? Because if your employees love the solution, they will actually follow any step. And I think if you look at procurement, it's a very fascinating area for innovation. It's an area traditionally driven by cost savings, cost savings opportunities, business process optimization, finding the right supply base for powering your business. But I think there's also this amazing opportunity for behavioral analysis within procurement functions. Employees oftentimes might not be incentivized to purchase from authorized suppliers because all they care about is getting the product to do their job. But if you were to look fast forward in 2 to 5 years, how about gamifying the product where the best department that leads to cost savings can have a day off, right, from an HR standpoint, or a corporate lunch or reward. And I think about these things, but when you look at the employee base are not just motivated based on financial rewards. They're based, on actual performance-related praise, metrics, and things that they can go home to and say, this is what I was able to achieve today. And I think procurement and accounts payable are really interesting areas to look at that from a gamification standpoint.
Because they're necessary for every business has these needs. There's not a business that exists that doesn't have the need for procurement. I mean, we all consume things, and we treat it somewhat like a utility. We expect the opportunity to be there when we need things, we get things. And keeping in mind that the gamification and the reward, right, to the employees who fulfill those roles is often overlooked. And the fastest way to lose engagement with employees is for them to feel invisible, unheard, unseen. And this is in a very much tactical day-to-day part of operations, a way to make it really easy to say, hey, you're doing a great job. Look at your metrics, look at the numbers, look at the impact you're making to the business overall. And that's something that I very seldomly hear software solutions in an operational mindset thinking about. So it's a nice addition that adds value and impact to the employees using the tools.
Absolutely, Lisa. At the core, we are a software provider. Our responsibilities and our mission is to deliver the best B2B e-commerce experience on the planet for Fortune 1000 and mid-market companies. But as you engage with these companies, you learn a lot about engagement from a user standpoint, what works, what doesn't work, and where are there areas to improve that match the company that you're installing the software at, their mission, right? And for me, I live by a really interesting quote from the film director Martin Scorsese. And he's quoted to say, your job is to make your audience care about your obsessions. And in business, when you look at software, you also have to look at the people side of the equation. And that is something that we take near and dear to our hearts at Bruzy, as we've been working with many different companies and many different verticals. The problem sets are typically the same. They are just vocalized and articulated in different manners.
Absolutely. And right, we know that you come from a big consulting background and big software. We've done things over the years, right? Products came to market. Here's what it is, here's how it works, and here's why you should use it, right? And businesses, some of them bought in that mindset and there was a cadence to it. But today our buyers, our business owners are more savvy, and they really want to understand what it means and what problems it solves for them. The what and the how is almost irrelevant as long as they have problems that are being solved. And you have created this product, this platform set in a way that is clearly defined to solve business problems. and positioned it in such a way that it's there to make your business easier. Procurement should not ever be something that slows down the growth or the operations of any business. And having this system platform that is mobile friendly and accessible to everybody who needs to use it on the way that they want to use it, it's without thought, right? It's frictionless. And so people may not actually say that they love it because they may actually forget, right, what's enabling them, but my job is easier. And that's all any of us can ask to do when we're influencing and supporting our clients, is we've made that impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things, Lisa, that I will elaborate from our side is understand exactly the problem you're looking to solve. Find the people and the technology that are the best fit for it. And when you look at this incredible innovation that's happened over the last 24 months in the commercialization of AI technologies, it's a real interesting point for a lot of companies, because organizations are, and the boards are trying to accelerate AI adoption and implementation without truly understanding what they're trying to solve. And when you look at, AI, we look at it as an absolute virtual assistant that can provide information, upon request, which can ease the job of an accounts payable manager, a factory supervisor, a procurement buyer, category manager. But before you do that, you have to have the data. And the data has to be clean. And this is where AI can become very dangerous, because there's an over-reliance on the output of AI based on dirty data. And for us, we really preach on that topic also. While we are a software provider on Procure to Pay, we also like to look at our implementations as going in as clean as possible, because that sets the foundation for you to employ these types of AI models and algorithms to generate incredible outcomes for your business.
That's a really important part. And the old adage, garbage in, garbage out, it will always remain true with whatever system we're working with. If we don't have good quality control of the data, the output can never be truly trusted. One of the things in this conversation that just sort of resonates is a rallying cry that I love, right? It's our people plus our processes times technology. That's where we get our growth and our scale. And that technology is an enablement tool. It is not the answer. It is not the way. You have what your business is and how you operate. It enables and supports that. And again, bringing it back to my idea, right? You're creating a frictionless payment process and purchasing experience for your customers. You mentioned Fortune 1000 in the mid-market. Looking, right, that is the largest group of businesses. Technically, I guess maybe small businesses, but it is the largest group of businesses that are growing and scaling in the space. In a 5-year look forward, what impact are you wanting to make in that space with this product set?
Well, I mean, for us, we want and have seen demonstrable evidence as to when these software tools are put in, they scale, they have 90+% end user adoption. Procurement executives, team members automatically get to a board level for conversations, because they're generating so much value for the business beyond just the cost savings, right? A lot of companies have incredible initiatives to spend X percentage of their dollars with small business suppliers, disadvantaged suppliers, better known. How does Vruzy and that technology assist with that, right? In terms of that supplier identification process in the procurement cycle. These are things that we believe that the true notion of a procurement professional is going to migrate to something far more strategic than it is today. And I think that there's another really interesting point here, which is the education gap. It's hard to go into a 4-year program at a university and say, I want to be a corporate buyer when I come out of school. And so I think what we see here with the advent of AI is that procurement, supply chain can be digital showrooms for not only organizations to showcase innovation and real life savings and value, but they can be digital showrooms within the classroom. And one of the most interesting things that we've learned is we actually piloted a supply chain procurement program with Northeastern University about a year ago, where students in their supply chain program had practical experience running processes in the Vruzy platform and provided real feedback. And we're getting at the hearts and minds early because the bias in a, let's say, university student versus a person that's 15 years into a manufacturing job could be vast. But the points that both individuals make are still absolutely relevant and very helpful in crafting next generation strategies for the platform innovation.
So, audience, we've had some really good discussion points through this and what Shaz is doing with Vruzy in terms of simplifying a supply chain process back to what it really could be and should be, because if we take out those extra layers of noise, we get to a process that is more nimble, more efficient, and it drives value for the businesses as they're growing, which is giving them operational savings, which they can reinvest into their own innovation, growth, and strategies to move forward. And at the same time, his team is partnering on the educational side of the house to ensure that new, young, fresh eyes are seeing something for the first time and informing what it could become in the future. Shaz, thank you so much for this conversation. And if you've piqued people's interest and curiosity, where's the easiest way for them to find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Shaz, V as in Victor Khan. You can follow our page at Vruzy, and I'm sure you'll be able to connect with me there.
Absolutely fabulous. All of those links will be in the show notes, so it's easy for you to find them. Shaz, thank you for being here with us today and having the conversation. For my audience, you know the rules. Don't get left behind. Join me next time.
That's it for today's episode of Disrupt and Innovate. Head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show.